Welcome to part 2 of my Anakin Skywalker Character Analysis. If you haven't seen part 1 yet, then I highly encourage you to do so. I'll throw up the title card and place a link in the description to it. In today's video, I'll continue my case for Anakin as the greatest Star Wars character, looking at his role in Episode 2. So without further ado, let's get into it. Following Shmi's funeral, Anakin and Padme are pulled back into the fray of the galaxy's greater issues, as they receive and transmit a message sent by Obi-Wan, and the fear of his fate would be left in question.
Protect the Senator at all costs. That is your first priority.
Understood, Master.
Anakin's demeanor shows again that just being told what to do by the stoic Mace Windu and the Jedi in general is just business as usual, as he's become almost numb to it, feeling that they don't trust him enough to help his own master, who he would be able to reach far sooner than anyone else.
If he's still alive.
He's your friend, your mentor.
He's like my father. But you heard Master Windu, he gave me strict orders to stay here.
Anakin has become so upset and a bit brainwashed that he forgot what he just mentioned a few minutes ago about not letting something like this happen again. This showing how much of a strangle the Jedi have on every action of his.
He gave you strict orders to protect me, and I'm going to help Obi-Wan. If you plan to protect me, you'll just have to come along.
Padme then reminds him of his rebellious nature and inspires him to do what he feels is right, even if it means breaking a few rules. They did the same for his mother, and now they will do the same for his father in Obi-Wan. As they leave, Anakin is beginning to feel in better spirits, as he's not only getting along with Padme's mindset, but he's given an opportunity again to do what he loves: fixing things.
I'm not interested in getting into a war here. As a member of the Senate, maybe I can find a diplomatic solution to this mess.
I've given up trying to argue with you.
Anakin has learned that Padme is not someone to argue with when she believes in something, so he just lets things be. This is also a reminder of the importance of this trip to Geonosis, as they're simply trying to rescue their friend who's being held hostage. But they're in sensitive territory, as enacting an aggressive negotiations would be the call for the start of a war that would fracture and divide the galaxy. As they enter the droid factory, they're given a surprise welcome by the Geonosians. It's here that he would have to put his Jedi training to the test and survive a series of obstacles that stand in their way. He displays not only his skills with the lightsaber, but his Force abilities. Unfortunately though, he gets trapped under the machinery and loses his lightsaber in the process, something that was foreshadowed by Obi-Wan as his reckless ways are catching up with him, as he continuously puts himself, and in turn others, in harm's way, reinforced when he states that it's not the first time either.
Not again. Obi-Wan's gonna kill me.
This scene also shows that no matter how valiant his efforts, Anakin can't always save everyone, as once Padme is in danger, he can't be there for her, only to be saved by R2, showcasing that everyone needs help, even if he feels that he can solve all his problems by becoming all-powerful. In short, Anakin and Padme are captured, and they have a few moments together before being carted out to the arena for their own executions.
I've been dying a little bit each day since you came back into my life.
What are you talking about?
I love you.
You love me? I thought that we had decided not to fall in love, that we would be forced to live a lie, and that it would destroy our lives.
I think our lives are about to be destroyed anyway.
In what they believe would be their final moments, Padme reveals to Anakin how she truly feels. This of course throws him by surprise, but it's music to his ears as he finally has confirmation that she feels the same way about him as he does her, even describing it in a similar way about it being torture, or in her case, that she's been dying. It's a moment that really drives home their star-crossed lover tale, similar to Romeo and Juliet's forbidden but inevitable love. But similar to the Shakespeare tale, this would only further seal their fate as it propels them to their demise. And right after receiving this great news from Padme, of course Anakin must immediately receive that classic Obi-Wan sass after severely disappointing him.
I was beginning to wonder if you'd got my message.
I retransmitted it just as you had requested, Master. Then we decided to come and rescue you.
Good job.
Even when he's on the brink of execution, he still lets Anakin have what he deserves. Although Anakin probably does deserve it this time, it's just another example of how Obi-Wan continuously shows disappointment in his apprentice, which over time has an effect on Anakin's psyche.
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Really, you don't say.
Just relax, concentrate.
What about Padme?
She seems to be on top of things.
And Padme is clearly the prepared one in the relationship, so Anakin should take some notes. With Obi-Wan's defensive approach to fighting, it's fitting for him to advise patience, as he has the patience to allow things to come to him rather than rushing into things as Anakin might as a more aggressive fighter. So Anakin really needs to heed his words if they're to survive. Anakin starts off strong as he uses the Reek's aggressive nature against itself to land on its back, attempting to take control of this wild beast, showcasing Anakin's cunning and ingenious ways of coming up with solutions, knowing that strictly fighting wasn't an ideal option. Anakin also showcases his ability to calm down the Reek and form a bond with him, again not choosing to fight it head on, rather use it to his advantage, as that would help the team with the other beasts as well, keeping them safe for long enough until the other Jedi arrived. And once they did, Anakin and Obi-Wan are given lightsabers, and Anakin shows how valuable of a warrior he is in the battle.
You call this a diplomatic solution?
No, I call it aggressive negotiations.
Amidst all the chaos, it's here that Anakin feels like everything is finally going his way, as he's on the battlefield, a place he's comfortable being in with someone that he loves and someone who understands him in Padme, all reinforced by the fact that he shows that he's beginning to rub off on her.
Surrender, and your lives will be spared.
We will not be hostages to be bartered, Dooku.
Anakin shows that he was completely ready for the scenario, as he takes a stance and shows that he's prepared for a fight to the death, making their final stand. But fortunately for him and all the heroes of the Republic, the new Grand Army would arrive just in time, as they surely would have met their demise if not. They would then make their way across the battlefront, ready to do their part and halt the Separatist plans to escape.
Aim right above the fuel cells. Good call, my young Padawan.
It's nice to see Obi-Wan give Anakin credit where it's due, although he again does so in a somewhat impersonal way as he calls him his young Padawan rather than by his name or anything more endearing. Also, Anakin's immense knowledge on technology shines again and shows that he will be a natural when it comes to making decisions as a leader in this new time of war, as he would go on to be one of the clones' most respected and revered generals throughout the Clone Wars, and the Republic would crown him as the hero without fear.
It's Dooku! Shoot him down!
We're out of rockets, sir.
Anakin also shows that he is one to always think of attacking before anything else, a shoot-first mentality, prioritizing offense over defense. Also, it's refreshing to see that someone actually suggests this, as it would immediately solve their problems, similar to Han shooting Vader with no hesitation when he sees him in Empire, showing Anakin has a more gunslinger mentality than his Jedi brethren who previously thought Dooku was incapable of murder.
He is a political idealist, not a murderer.
You know, milady, Count Dooku was once a Jedi. He couldn't assassinate anyone. It's not in his character.
Follow!
We're gonna need some help.
There isn't time! Anakin and I can handle this!
While Obi-Wan may be critical of Anakin, he understands that in critical times, he must show faith in his apprentice to give him the boost of confidence to excel, as an entire war could be prevented with their teamwork. This bit of confidence from his master is all that Anakin needs going forward, as trust is more powerful than any other thing Obi-Wan could give him. Unfortunately, his confidence would be shot out of a window as quickly as Padme falls from the gunship.
Put the ship down! Anakin! Don't let your personal feelings get in the way!
This is where Obi-Wan is truly tested as a master, as his apprentice has much fear, which can cause him to do things he otherwise wouldn't if he was at calm, at peace, passive, which is how someone can determine what the right thing to do is. Anakin filled the void of one attachment with his mother and now places it in Padme, as people will do crazy things when they're in love. It can be a noble effort in some cases, but others, it can simply deter you from the bigger picture.
Lower the ship! I can't take Dooku alone! I need you! If we catch him, we can end this war right now! I don't care! Put the ship down!
Obi-Wan tries everything to bring Anakin to his senses. First, he expresses vulnerability and weakness, reminding Anakin that he's as important to taking Dooku down as anything else that's happening, and that if he sacrifices her for the greater good, then he could save the lives of the many. When that doesn't work, he then uses logic by reminding him that he would essentially lose all his life's work by committing treason.
You will be expelled from the Jedi Order! I can't leave her! Come to your senses!
And when that doesn't work, Obi-Wan flips the script and asks him to put himself in her shoes and vice versa. Only then does he begin to calm down as Anakin respects and admires the type of person that Padme is, and he realizes that she would make the tough choice that he's afraid to make.
What do you think Padme would do were she in your position? She would do her duty.
Obi-Wan does a great job here of trying to align his apprentice's desires with his for the greater good, and for Anakin's own sake as well, as he would have given up everything he worked for in a split second. A reminder that sometimes a mentor is needed to save us from our worst enemy, ourselves. Overall, Anakin showcases here firsthand what an attachment can do to someone as he throws all logic out the window, proving Padme right about sacrificing his own life for her. Similar to his reckless care of his lightsaber and his physical life, he does so here in his personal life, through his career and the greater good. So here he must take some of his own advice and do what is requested of him. And instead of letting go of his pride, he must let go of his love, his attachment, and most importantly, his fear. The duo and Obi-Wan and Anakin then arrive at Dooku's hangar, acting as the last hope for ending the war before it even begins.
You're gonna pay for all the Jedi that you killed today, Dooku.
We'll take them together. You're going slowly on the left.
Taking him now! No, Anakin, no!
Unfortunately though, Anakin is still hot-headed and rushes into attack rather than heeding the words of his master, a reminder that the two are just never on the same page. This juxtaposing Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, as while they may have had their own differences, they were always able to settle them and work together. This is most relevant in how their duels against the respective Sith apprentices goes, as Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon fought with extreme coordination together against Maul, with them only failing when they were separated. Comparatively, Obi-Wan and Anakin have to verbally bicker to even be in the same book, and still, they never get to actually fight Dooku together at all, showing how they need to work further on their relationship to thrive and have any positive results. Anakin's fear again leads to his anger and hatred, which he must then suffer the consequences for as he foolishly attacks Dooku on his own, showing how these characteristics that are quick to join him in a fight have consumed him and he's weaker for it, leaving his master by himself as others must suffer the consequences of his selfish actions, as he was acting more in the mindset of revenge for Padme rather than justice for the Republic. Obi-Wan is disarmed and maimed, and right before Dooku delivers the killing blow, Anakin swoops in to save his master.
Brave of you, boy, but I would have thought you had learned your lesson.
I am a slow learner.
Anakin can't help but be smug in this situation, showing how he always has something to say to his enemy. Anakin really isn't a slow learner, at least in lightsaber combat, but again his emotions can cloud his judgment. Also, this feels similar to when Luke says,
"You'll find I'm full of surprises,"
as he passed on his battle banter to his son. Also, what Dooku is saying is quite true, as Anakin is truly one of the bravest characters in Star Wars itself, as he always throws himself back into a battle even when the odds are stacked against him. Meanwhile, ironically, or fittingly, being most times the person with the greatest amount of fear in the room, as fear is required for a man to be brave, as a man can only be brave when he's afraid. Obi-Wan tosses Anakin his lightsaber and he's able to contest with Dooku for a bit as Dooku must adjust to a unique form. It's also symbolic of Anakin and Obi-Wan taking him on together in a sense, as he uses both blades to fight Dooku. But of course, they're not actually fighting together and he's easily disarmed. The fight continues, but unfortunately Anakin is outclassed by a superior swordsman in Dooku and is disarmed for a second time, this time losing his arm in the process, losing a bit of his humanity with it. Similar to his actions in this movie, this would be the first steps to becoming more machine than man, as the loss of his arm would also fill him with a desire for revenge on the man that not only harmed or attempted to execute his love in Padme, captured his master, started a war, and now robbed him of his arm. And his arm, particularly for Anakin, is representative of the part of him he values the most as a Jedi, as he was known for practicing his lightsaber skills more than any other aspect of being a Jedi, even though he, as the Chosen One, has the greatest potential and propensity to achieve unheard of feats with the Force had he practiced more like his master implied earlier in the film. Although he mentioned lightsaber skill, but the point still stands. It's also the hand that has done both great acts of good, but unspeakable acts of evil. So it would become a machine as he's acted as a Terminator, killing others in acts of revenge rather than justice, including the innocents. And so, Master and Apprentice must bask in their failure as their lack of teamwork lands them with needing to be saved by Yoda and Anakin losing his arm. However, with them being saved, Dooku escapes and as a result a full-scale galactic war has begun, all because Anakin allowed his emotions to get the better of him.
I have good news for you, my lord. War has begun.
Excellent. Everything is going as planned.
Dooku has already brought about his master's vision. He successfully started the war, and the Jedi will become crippled by its consequences.
The shroud of the dark side has fallen. Begun. The Clone War has.
A victory in battle for the Jedi proves to be a major loss, as now they are at war, something that could have all been avoided. Where the movie should be ending on a positive as the heroes won the battle, it ends on a foreboding note as it births the start of the Empire, the clones representing the obedient soldiers that Palpatine will use in his quest for power. As he looks down at his army, the sun sets on what was once the Republic of old, and so begins its slow fall and the rise of the Empire. The final scenes transition from the Imperial March to Across the Stars, Anakin and Padme's love theme, and it's a perfect representation of how their forbidden love has planted the seeds of the Empire, as Anakin is falling into the grand plan and trap that Palpatine has laid out for him, as with love comes a fear of losing that love, and which could be used to manipulate his actions. We're then shown Anakin and Padme being wed in secret, which would typically be a great end to the fairy tale story. However, this bodes as an ominous sign of what is to come, showing how far he's willing to go to break the code to do what he feels is right. Also a subtle thing to note, rather than exchanging wedding rings, the two exchange their droids in R2 and 3PO, and in particular for Anakin, he gives Padme his only possession in 3PO, representing him giving all of himself to his love, and receiving it in exchange with Padme giving him R2. Although the action of their marriage is based on love, it is a forbidden act from these two. Shakespearean, like Romeo and Juliet, with the two star-crossed lovers destined for tragedy. Their love leads to happiness, yet their own demise. This secret would cause them to live with alter egos in a sense, and for Anakin, this would further cement the dichotomy of his good and evil sides, or, as we commonly know them, Anakin and Vader, as both sides would fight for control, another sign of how his mechanical hand represents the spread and conquering of Darth Vader in his mind, and the inner turmoil that this would cause the Chosen One would simply leave him a conflicted hero. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I had a ton of fun making this video, so if you enjoyed it too, then I highly suggest liking the video. And if you want to see more like it, then definitely hit subscribe. And if you want to be notified when part 3 comes out, then hit the bell for notifications, or consider checking out my Patreon, where I'll be uploading videos there significantly sooner than on YouTube. Part 3 should be available there as I speak, and the same will apply to the next parts when they come out. And on that note, I want to give a shout out to my patrons. Your support means everything to me. And finally, let me know in the comments which Star Wars character has gone through the greatest challenges and why. And who knows, they might be in the next one. Until next time, remember, sometimes we must let go of our pride and do what is requested of us.